Welcome to Going Fishing with Brett Raymer from Tanked, episode number 1. And here's your host, Brett. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, JC? Great to be here today. Got some amazing guests and ready to talk some shop.
Why don't you talk about the cast of characters that are joining us today?
So today we got an amazing cast of characters. First off, we got my really good friend and my manager, Mike Scores today. Hey, Mike, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Pleasure to be here.
Got Mike all the way in from New York. Never a trip that he doesn't miss in Las Vegas. Hey, Mike, come to Vegas. He's there in a second, right, Mike?
Damn right I am.
That's right. And we got my really good friend and one of the other stars of Tanked. We got my really good friend, Agnes. I won't even dare to pronounce your last name. Okay?
No one does, Brett.
Exactly. I know that.
Everyone assumes it's Agnes Raymer.
Oh, really? They do. They do.
Yeah, everyone assumes
They do.
your wife, but no, Agnes Wilczynski from Tanked.
That's right. That's right.
One of the originals. It's good to be here. I'm excited to kind of join you again after a 2-year hiatus almost.
I know. It's great to have the group together. Absolutely. It's fantastic. So thank you for being here today. Appreciate you guys coming in.
It's been a minute, yeah.
We're excited to talk about the show Tanked, and today's episode is kind of then and now, and let's get into it. So Animal Planet announced the end of the show in 2019. So why did this highly successful show come to an end?
So, I never look at it as coming to an end, right? I always look at it as being on a hiatus because, you never know, right? The show ended. It never had a season finale. But like I said, I don't think it actually ended. I would say more of a hiatus. So right now you never know what's going to happen in the future. I'm not saying it's going to come back or anything, but I think that there was a couple of reasons why it ended, but for the most part, I think it was more we were on a hiatus. There was a lot of changes, a lot of different things going on behind the scenes with cable and with how cable versus streaming television worked. Mm-hmm. So they were getting ready to launch different platforms and do different things, and just at that time, it wasn't a right fit for us to come back.
Now, Agnes, was that the last time you spoke to Brett? Is when the show came to an end?
Yes. So basically, I left in March of 19, and we all needed a break. We really did. I started working at ATM in 2007. So I had been there for a long time with these guys, and then we kicked off. We were while working, and then we were doing a show. So that's a lot of years of just constantly running. And eventually it did come to it was a hiatus, but we all needed a break. So I have spoken to Brett briefly. I mean, we text here and there, but no, I haven't seen anyone. So this is fun to actually sit here and say, hey, what's going on? How's your life? I'm also in a different spot in my life, and things are going well. And It would be great to reunite and just kind of have a reunion if we could. I think it would be fun.
Yeah, what people don't understand is that we had 2 jobs.
Yeah.
It wasn't one job. Shooting a reality show takes up a majority of your life. Mm-hmm. Between travel, between fitting your family in, between then operating and running a business. It doesn't matter whether I'm the owner or whether Agnes is a sales rep. She had her sales job to do and her estimating, along with filming, along with traveling. So, we shot 156 episodes, let's just think about that, right? How many shows out there can say that they've shot 156 1-hour episodes? Mm-hmm. And that's pretty amazing, and I'm really proud of everybody that was a part of that. But like she said, it got to the point where family, living and breathing and working and being with them takes a toll on everybody. Being around your friends, even people, that eventually takes a toll on people. So people don't see all that stuff because all they do is watch the amazing show Tanked on TV and realize all the fun, the laugh, the humor, and all the good times. But they don't really see what goes on behind the scenes, or they don't really see the hard work and the sweat and the tears and the arguments and the yelling and the screaming. So, like Agnes said, I think all of that took a toll on everybody. And whether it was, the network realized it or whether God realized it, I think it was just a time for us to just kind of take a break.
You mentioned the family dynamics, and I watched the show, and it's a family show when I watch it, because you are a family. But how did that dynamic start? Were you and Wade friends first, or did Wade marry your sister first? How did that all begin?
No, so it's a really good question. So when we moved here, my dad moved here first, and he wanted to have an aquarium built. And Wade started, actually, my dad met Wade because he wanted to have this aquarium. Wade worked for another company. He met Wade, and then Wade started building his aquarium. He saw a picture of my sister. They started dating. And then my dad, Wade wanted to, the business he was in, the guy was really old. And well, he was an older gentleman. I'm getting old myself, but he was a older gentleman, and he wanted to retire. So he said to Wade, "Hey, you want to take over this business?" And Wade was like, "Yeah." And my dad was going to put up the money and asked me if I wanted to be a part of it. And that's kind of how we got started. That's how it basically got started at that point. I remember it was me, Wade, and this guy, Mike Kamai. It was 3 of us. And we all sat in one office, and that's how we got ATM started.
So who came up with the idea of making this a TV show?
Brett. Because what was always the
Well,
joke, Brett?
it was funny because I used to watch Orange County Choppers. When
Yes.
reality TV became reality TV, those guys were the ones that really made reality TV famous. And I would watch it and I would turn around and I would go, that's really not how the families are supposed to be, right? The families are really more like Married with Children. I go, now that show is hysterical. Those guys, they abuse each other, they have fun. And I go, like, it's kind of like our family. So one day, we're all sitting in the office, and we used to have a bullpen office, I call it, because everybody would sit in the same office. There was 5 desks within the same office, and people used to come in all the time.
One bird in the center.
Yeah, one bird in the center.
Oh, yeah, we
would-
saw the
Yeah.
see the birds.
Oh,
At
yeah.
the
So
beginning, there was one.
In the office,
Yeah.
in that office, there was literally a big. Remember?
Yeah,
the
I
big
remember the
bird.
big bird.
Wade needed to have the bird in the center, squawking the entire time as we're trying to all work.
Right. And we have people that would come to visit us on the daily just to come hang out and check out the birds, check out the fish. And we used to hear, "Oh, you guys are funny. You guys should be on TV. You guys should be on TV." Not once, not twice, but I mean a lot. And I would turn around and I'm like, Orange County Choppers, TV. These guys keep saying it. I'm like, dude, I think we got a TV show here. And they're like, dude, that's the worst idea I ever heard. Seriously, it was the family joke, right? They used to go behind my back and be like, dude, that's the worst idea I ever heard. I can't believe you even thought of that. And I'm like, no, I'm seriously. We got a character. We got, look, my dad. We got Heather, Wade, Agnes. I go, we build crazy aquariums. I go, if Orange County Choppers can turn motorcycles into rocket ships, I go, we could turn aquariums into rocket ships. And then they're like, okay, that's still the dumbest idea I've ever heard,
Yeah,
right?
we did.
So
We said he's nuts. Yeah.
I used to walk into Agnes's office and I go, okay, Agnes, you think I'm
No,
kidding?
not into my office. In the same room.
Okay, and
You
I,
walk
oh,
up
that's
to my
right, right.
desk that was made out
You're
of
right.
wood.
You're right.
Piece of wood.
And I'd be like, you see out there? I go, there are going to be people lining up out the door to come see us. And she was like, okay, yeah, sure they are. So I had no idea what I was doing, right? So me and my friend Chuck, who sat next to me, and I was like, what do you want to do, Chuck? And he's like, I don't know. I go, dude, I got an idea. Let's go to the UNLV film school and meet with the professor. So we go down to UNLV, we meet the professor, and we pitch him our idea. And he's like, wow, it's pretty interesting. He goes, I'm going to come and check it out. So he comes down, he walks around the facility, and he goes, wow, guys. He goes, pretty amazing. He goes, I think you guys could have a show. He goes, but unfortunately, we don't have the budget to really help you, but I can give you what professors do best. I can give you some guidance and some education on how to get it done. So Chuck and I sat with him for like 30 minutes, and basically his education was, see that yellow pages right there? Let your fingers do the walking, call production companies and pitch them your idea. So I was like, that's it? You just got to get on the phone and just tell. He's like, yeah, that's it. So I pitch, and the first phone call went like this, right? Hi, this is Brett Raymer. I have this great company, and we want to have a reality show. We want to build amazing fish tanks. Hello? Hello? So, it went like that. I mean, for months and months and months, I was trying to pitch people about aquariums and tell them what we could do.
Years.
Years. I mean,
took years.
But first the pitch went for like 9 months. Then I finally find this guy, and I remember his name. His name was Bud Brussman, and he had a bunch of shows on a car channel. Now I'm so desperate at this point. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Somebody's going to do it. He said, you know what? I'm going to be in Vegas. I'm going to come see you. So I said, all right, great. So he comes down, he sees us, and he walks through the facility, and he checks out the facility, and he turns around and he goes, wow, you guys got something pretty special. And I'm like, that's what I've been trying to tell people. I'm like, all right, what can you do for me? He goes, well, I don't normally do this, but for you, it's going to be $5,000. I said, okay, $5,000. Okay. I go, we got a little bit of a problem. He goes, what's that? I said, I'm $49.99 short. So he kind of laughed like you guys did, right? And I go, no, seriously, dude. I go, please, I'm begging you. You got to do this. You don't understand. This has been the family joke. If I could just get you to shoot it, at least they'll believe in me. So he's like, okay, you know what? I believe in you. He goes, we're going to shoot it. So I said, all right. One circumstance. I said, I've heard in the industry that even though you're paying for it, that at the end of the day, I'm going to bring you this good content that if you shoot it, you keep the content if you don't sell it. And he goes, yeah, that's how it works. And I go, yeah, but not in this case. And he goes, well, what do you mean? I go, well, do you really believe you're going to sell it? He goes, absolutely, 100%. I go, then you would have no reason why you wouldn't sign that paper to give it back to me because you're going to sell it. I go, you have nothing to lose. And he goes, you know what? Fine, I'll do it. And he signs it. Hands down, no lie, Mike will tell you, that was the best move that I ever made. Because he didn't sell it after a year. So a year went by by the time we shot it. Then a year went by of him pitching it, and he didn't sell it. So he turned around to me and goes, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I don't want to sign another contract. I want you to give me back the footage." I go, "You had a year. You couldn't do it. Now it's time to move on." And he's like, "Really?" I go, "Yeah, send me the master." So he's like, "Okay." He sends me the master, and I get the master. 2 years go by, and I'm really super depressed, right? So I would walk into the office, and I'd hear my dad would be like, "Hey, son, how's that reality TV show going? Huh?
It was
Good? Up. You know what?" He goes, "I think I was eating pizza the other day. I might have seen a commercial for it." Son!
And the pilot was so awful. Do you remember?
So yeah, it was really,
Oh my God.
it was really long. It didn't do a great, but I didn't know anything about television.
Sure.
These guys were the experts, so I relied on them. So I'm like, you know what? I mean, this is the big joke, and everybody laughs at it because on the show, you see me, I don't really work that hard. But I was telling people the reason why it wasn't selling is because I was working too hard at it. I was trying to sell it too much. I kind of relate it to like, if you're single and you're looking for a girlfriend, you don't really find her. It's like when you're at the supermarket, you turn around.
Love comes
accidentally-
walking in, yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So what I decided to do is take the disc and put it away and put it into a safe and just leave it alone. I figured if it's going to happen, God will do his work, right? So 6 months go by, and all of a sudden I get a phone call out of the clear blue from one of my friends from college, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on, pal? How you doing?" His name's Joel. He's like, I'm like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on? I haven't heard from you in a minute. What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm moving to Vegas." I'm like, "Oh, really? Can't wait to see you." So he comes to my house, and he's like, "What have you been up to?" I'm like, "Perfect opportunity." I go, "I haven't seen him in a minute. Let's pull out the tape." I go, "I've been making a reality show." I go, "But haven't really been too successful, but let me show you what I got." So I put it in and I walk away, and he's laughing, he's having a good time. He's like, "Wow, you got a hit TV show." And I went, "Yes, one person, finally."
And we're still telling him he's not.
Finally. Well, they're
not
still
reality.
telling me that
Yeah,
it's not
right.
reality. It's 2 years of just.
And then again, he does come to me almost every day. "Watch, there's going to be a line. Wait, just wait. And I go, "Okay, bro, okay, whatever."
Well,
Okay.
Mike, how does this get to Animal Planet?
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. I'm
Okay.
getting there. I'm getting there. So Joel, over the years, has been grown up with Mike. They grew up together as kids.
Yeah.
Mike and I and Richie, we've all been friends over the years through Joel. That's how we met, and we've known each other through the years. So Joel, I put it in. He laughs, and he's like, "Oh my God, you got a hit TV show." He goes, "What have you been doing with it?" I'm like, "Honestly, nothing." And he's like, "Well, guess what?" He goes, "I want to send it off to my friend Mike." And Mike works for Fox News. He's a general manager over there, or with executive producer. And we want to send it to him and see what he thinks. So we send it off to Mike. Mike gets it, and Mike watches it. And Mike calls me up, and he's like, "You got a hit TV show." And I went, "Yes, 2 people." Oh, listen to me. So you got to understand, we're making headway
Go
now.
exactly that way, but
Similar, it's similar, right? So,
Right.
no, it didn't go that way.
somewhat.
How did you get you got it from Joel, didn't you?
No, yes.
You
No.
did, right?
No, yes, no, yes.
But then you take it and you go to Animal Planet and say, "Hey guys, this is
No,
a
then
show?"
you went to Nancy, right?
No. Well, I've been doing this for a long time,
Yeah.
and everybody comes to me and tells me they should be on TV, they should have a hit reality show. My
Everyone's
mechanic
smart.
tells me that he should have a reality show. Look at crazy Jose in the back doing the oil changes. I mean, everybody wants to be on TV. But no, what Brett's saying is accurate with Joel and getting me the DVD and the pilot.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was I took a look at it, and I was very fortunate to work with a lot of great, talented people. And one of the guys that I worked with was a guy by the name of Marvin Himmelfarb. And Marvin was, your younger audience won't remember this, but he was the head writer for a guy by the name of Aaron Spelling. Back
sure.
in the Love
Yeah, of
Boat,
course.
Fantasy Island days, the
Yeah.
whole bit.
Tori Spelling's dad.
Yes, Tori Spelling's dad. And I showed it to him, and I said, "Marvin, I really like this idea. There's nothing on TV like this. It's a build show, but no one has ever gone into this genre. What do you think?" And Marvin looked at it in about 15 seconds, looked up to me, and he said, "You have got to do this show." So yes, Brett is accurate as far as.
So I tell the shorter version.
So
I tell the dumbed down version.
so you get a deal. The show is signed, and we're off to the races. Then
Well, actually, it was so.
Not that quick.
So my version of it. Here's my version of it. Here's my version of it. Right. So Mike then goes into partnership with Nancy Glass. Correct? Is that what we call it?
We hired Glass Productions, my business partners, Rich Bennett and Eric Salzman. Took the pitch actually to another older friend of ours, Meredith Bennett, who was the executive producer for the Colbert Report of of many different shows. And she said, look, you should talk to Nancy. And I'd worked with Nancy Glass in the past, but she had an established production company. And I said, look, take a look at this. Tell me what you think. I know that you're doing a lot of shows. And she absolutely loved it. She came in, redid the pilot, and then
Right, so I always
we
tell the
said,
version
okay.
of it. So my version on stage, when I tell people my story, I always go, Mike went into a partnership with a lady named Nancy. Nancy was on, Inside Edition. She's the one that interviewed Jeffrey Dahmer, okay? And she's a big name in the entertainment industry. And I get a phone call one day, and it's Nancy. And she's like, oh, my God, Brett, I love your show. Oh, my God, it's so amazing. You're going to be such a big star. And I'm like, okay, Nancy, so what do we got to do? She goes, first off, the first pilot, it was way too long. We need to recut it, edit it down, add new music, and then forget it. It's sold. So I'm like, all right, I said, let's hope so. So she cuts it down, and let me tell you something. I got to give her credit where credit is due. They made that video that was silver, and they turned it into platinum. So, I mean, when you watched it, you just were on the edge of your seat. Like, it was just...
You were hooked.
Everything that I ever dreamed of was in that 2-minute pilot that they created, that 5-minute, whatever it was. Everything that I could ever imagine was in that pilot.
Sizzle.
And I knew in my sizzle reel, whatever you want to call it, I knew in my heart
That's what we call
that we were selling it like that. I was like, oh my God, it's a winner, right? And I swear, 3 weeks later, we get a phone call.
2 years.
You think it was that long? No, from the
It was
time
2
we...
years. It was
Wait,
2
No,
years.
no, no.
2 weeks?
No.
Mike,
2
you're
years
right.
from
2 years.
2 years from the time that not when they saw the
Well,
pilot.
from 2 years from the inception of
Yes.
when you came to me,
Yes.
and we put it together, and we reformulated and went out, pitched the show, brought Nancy Glass
Yes.
in. Yeah, it was about a 2
Okay, so
year-
maybe it was the show got started in what, 11? We launched in 11, right? So
no, technically
10.
no, 10
10.
because
10?
We did
I
5
came
episodes
on,
in 10.
Yes, I came on in 07, 09, and then I was literally there a month or two when he came up with this idea, and I'm like, what?
Well,
did I
because do you
What
remember
did I
they
do?
split production companies in the
exactly.
beginning?
Yes.
They had Animal Planet had their
Yes.
people on
Yes.
at first,
Yes.
and then Nancy kind of had like a split
Yes.
crew.
Well, that's usually standard. Most networks will hire a production
Right.
company to do the
So
shows.
9-10 is when it started, kind of.
But
and
I had
11
heard I
was the
heard through
first
going to
season.
all these like events that we had gone to how it actually went in the inner workings of Animal Planet. How I forget the girl's the talent girl that got it, and then she went down the hallway and she was like they
Shannon
were looking
Erb.
for an aquatic show. So most shows they don't get greenlit right away. They go through like what's it called when they
Well, they have a sheet, and they'll do their call sheets,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll have specific genres that they're looking to find a show on, whether it be another HGTV show, another cooking show, and they'll pass them around, and they'll tell the production companies that they work with on a regular basis, look, we're looking for a show like this, we're looking for a show like that, and by chance, Nancy had pitched Animal Planet, and here was the reel and the pitch, and they said, wow, we are looking for a show very similar to that.
and then they said they give us 6 episodes right away
Yeah.
without even they usually put it in front of like people to look at to see if it's going to be successful.
Test audience or
And they bypassed that because they were so excited about the show. And then we came out the first year, it was 6 episodes. And then I don't think there was maybe one season we got 15, but every other season after that we got 20 plus. Wow.
Yeah, it
For
was
8 years.
a lot.
So we shot, almost figure we were on TV for 8 years. We shot 156 episodes. It's almost 20 episodes a year.
Which goes back to your first question about why did the show technically end or go on hiatus. Thinking about a show which really never had a break, runs for 8 years on top of them doing their jobs, on top of the appearances that they're making, on top of the book tours, the whole bit. It was nonstop. And if you look at any of the major network shows, Family Ties, A Modern Family, all these great shows that you see that they come to an end 7, 8, 9 years in, and the audience looks at it and says, why? It's a tremendous toll to do a show like that continually. And I think there just was a lot of burnout.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know what else people don't realize is that when we first started the show season 1, this is brand new.
We had
no
no
one had
idea.
any
We
idea
were
of what to
green.
do.
Yeah.
No one
So
ever does.
so we went from shooting a show, let's say 6 episodes took a year to make.
Yeah.
A year. Maybe even longer if I remember correctly. But then as we started improving, like we were shooting full seasons in like 140 days, 135 days. So we knocked it down from like tremendously, but that's because we only gained more experience. I mean, there was a lot, people just don't realize how much it takes to make an actual show.
You're not building a tank in 60 minutes.
No.
No, you should see all the sleeping shots on planes.
Yeah, and that was the demand too from the network. The demand came from the network. Said, look, we need more shows. The advertisers are screaming. We would start out a season with 15 shows. Can you do 17? Can you do 18? I think
we physically
did
23,
23,
23, I think.
And we did what they called repack shows, which they would basically have Brett and Wade and Agnes and the rest of the gang in front of a green screen talking about, oh, remember the Christmas episode?
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. And we did that tank. So they would try. I mean, I think the most we had were 27 shows, but about a half dozen of those were repacks.
Yeah.
But that's a tremendous stress. But it also goes to the tremendous following that the cast had. It was just amazing.
And we also, you got to take into fact, a lot of our crew, like our camera guys, were there from the beginning.
Wow.
Everyone became family. This was, like, when this ended, not ended, it was a hiatus, obviously, like, all of us needed just to kind of get away and just take a breather. But it was like losing a family. I mean, it was just like you didn't see I saw these people every day for 12 years, day in and day out.
You live with them. You literally wake up. You're sleeping in the same hotels with them. You're waking up in the morning for breakfast with them. You're working with them.
How many people on the crew did you guys have?
15 probably, with all the sound guys, the camera guys, the APs, the PAs. There's all different languages. The EPs.
So we see you guys flying to LA to pick out fish for a client. These are the same guys that are flying out with you.
Most of the time, it's been like they've been a consistent crew. Like obviously, we've had people come and go, but it's mainly they were like this. It was the same crew, and so they became our family. And
they did.
They really did. We had so many good times. It was it was the most experience for me. I'm sure for you as well, and for everybody. It was an experience that many people don't get to have ever in their life.
Well,
this was a unicorn. Of
the
a
one
show.
thing that
Really was.
the one thing that I tell everybody that was most important to me, it's legacy, right?
Yeah.
The long story short is my grandkids, my great grandkids, and so forth and so on are going to be able to watch 156 episodes of me doing something special for the aquarium hobby, right? What we did for the aquarium hobby. I mean, we get thanked, all day, every day. People thank us for what we've done. I've had people walk up to me going, "Your show saved my business." So that was great. The show brought a lot of good memories, a lot of good things that I wouldn't trade, for the world. But I just want to say one thing. We go back to what we were talking about earlier about, when the show came about. So my dad was like the non-believer, right? So we get the contract, right? And I get it in my hand. I'm like, yes, we get the contract. Like I'm running in, Dad, we get the contract. And he looks at me and he goes, "Let me know when the money's in the bank."
For real.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Well,
Right? Shocker.
But you know what was the worst? He had to admit, if you know my dad, it's hard to admit that he's wrong. All those years, I was like, "So who invented the show, Dad? Who? What was that? You had believed in me?" He's like, "Nah, he tells the story, So, but it was honestly, it was great. It was fantastic. Like she said, it was family. The show itself was fun making. Doing everything as a whole wasn't fun. Missing kids events, I have 2 kids, daughter 23, my son's 15. Missed volleyball games, missed graduations, missed my own grand opening party. Had a huge party planned. I'm talking about spent thousands of dollars on our own party, all kinds of people there, and we get stuck on a plane and don't make it.
They did. Wade and Brett.
Our grand
missed
opening
it.
for season one, the grand opening.
missed it?
We missed it.
Yeah.
Heather and I were up there drinking, having a blast, and those two were stuck on a plane.
Stuck on a plane. So, I mean, people don't realize sleeping in, and when we first started, the budgets were small. We slept in the dingiest of hotels. The food was terrible. It wasn't like all...
Glitz and glamour.
Season 3 is when it started getting glitz and glamour. That's when it really started. Once I believe, I'm not mistaken, we have one of the highest rated episodes ever in Animal Planet history. And I think, right, it was like a 0.81 or something we did.
Top-rated show for the first 5 years. Even those last 3 years were in the top 20. And we put Animal Planet on the map.
Oh, yeah.
On a Friday night, who was watching Animal
They
Planet?
still do to this day. People literally watch marathons from
The
other
show's
countries.
on.
They're still
show
on.
Yeah, do you know how many different countries you guys are? Because you're still on YouTube TV. You're everywhere.
I mean, probably. Over 100 countries. But the show here in the U.S. is still on every day, and they run mini marathons on Friday. So there's still a tremendous.
Yeah,
following.
but in certain countries, it's not finished yet. So people, that's why they
they
think
always lag.
we're still.
What's funny is
Yeah.
going to other countries and seeing yourself talk in their language. So our show, what was great about our show is what Animal Planet did is because the show was so successful, they didn't put they voiced it over. So they didn't just put the language on the bottom. They voiced it over, and because they voiced it over, it made the show really, really popular. And it's also called different things in
Yes.
other countries. So like in Germany, it's called Aquaman. In
Poland, which is where I'm from,
Right.
it's called Project Aquarium.
Okay.
So I have a funny story with that. I went to go visit my family during Christmas, and we were all sitting together having dinner, and they had Project Aquarium on, and there I am with me and Brett doing our green screen, and it was just so funny because we're hearing ourselves I'm hearing him speak Polish, and my family's right there, so I sat next to the TV, so it was me, Brett, and me, took a photo. It's just like a surreal moment to think like, this is insanity,
Yes.
right? Like look at where it's gone.
When the show is on in Poland and they're speaking Polish,
Right.
is the same woman that's doing your voice for the entire? Do you have any say in casting that, or you kind of sign the rights over to whoever's going to do your voice?
No, but it's a trip to hear him speak Polish.
yeah,
Yeah,
French.
yeah, such a smart man. You should have told me that.
in the Spanish countries, it's called hasta esta cuello, like something like water up to the neck. It has like a different name,
Yeah.
like in every region,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we've traveled all over the world, and people see us. But the most defining moment of, I think, when I really started feeling like it was an international star, believe it or not, was when Wade and I were in Chengdu, China, and we were at the Panda Park. And we're at the Panda Park, walking around the Panda Park, checking it out and looking. All of a sudden, there's a choir from Norway there, and it's all kids. And all of a sudden, like they're practicing and they're rehearsing, and you could see a couple of kids start talking. The next thing you know, they start talking to the next kids. They stop talking. The teacher says something. They stop. They all start running over towards us. And they were like, oh my God, you're our favorite celebrity of our favorite TV show, and I cannot believe that we're in China seeing you guys. Like, it's the most surreal experience. And there was like 50 kids, and they were all just going crazy. We took a picture with them. I mean, it became really surreal. That's internationally. When it became real here in the States, the first show aired. I will never forget this. I wake up in the morning, and it was right around sometime in August of 2011.
August 2011, first episode.
2011, and school was getting ready to start in September here in Vegas. And I turned around to my daughter and my son, and I go, our lives episode aired on Friday night, and Saturday I was taking my kids shopping, and I said, our lives are now going to be changed after last night's episode. I said, people are going to recognize us. And you got to remember, now this is 2011, and it's 10 years ago. My daughter's 13 and my son is 4. So at the time, they're like, whatever, I don't believe you. So my daughter, who had comprehension, we go into the store, and first store we walk into was, I'll never forget, it's Tilly's at Boca Park.
Sure.
And we go in, and as we're walking out of the car, kid goes, Mom, there's that guy from TV last night. And I look at my daughter and I go, oh my God, what'd I tell you? I go, the first person, I can't believe it. We go into the store and people are talking about me. And I'm like, and then someone goes, Brett. And I turn around and I'm thinking I know the person.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, I saw you on TV last night. And that's when it really became like ultra real. And my kids were in shock.
Well, we have so much to talk about with this podcast, and that's a great point to wrap up episode number 1, because we have we have 158 episodes, 153 episodes to cover. I think that was a great foundation, a way to wrap up. Going fishing with Brett Raymer from Tank. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was fun, actually.
Well, that's good. See you next time.
See you next
Right.
time.